Hey everybody, Vesmore here, and today we're taking a look at Fire Emblem Three Houses. Ever since the game launched, I've been doing what I find super fun, poring all over the statistics and data to figure out the most optimal way to do things. In today's video, we're going to be talking about essentially the top 5 characters who you should be recruiting, as well as the reasons as to why they're so good. If this helps you out, do be sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments down below if you disagree or if you have any units that you think are standouts of your own. Anyway, with that said, let's get right to it, shall we? Now first off, there is one concept that you're going to need to understand. Veterans of Fire Emblem will probably already know what I'm talking about, but for those who have just picked up Three Houses and are new to the franchise, this is for you. Each character has a hidden value known as growths. These are essentially just a number that shows the percentage chance that any given statistic on a character will have to increase every level up. Each character has 9 growth values, one for each stat. That's HP, Strength, Magic, Dexterity, Speed, Luck, Defense, Resistance, and Charm. Let's imagine for a second that there was a unit that has a strength growth rate of 50. This would mean that anytime they level up, strength would have a 50% chance of increasing by 1. So this essentially applies to each stat. Each time a character levels up, the game checks the growth rate and essentially rolls to see if that stat will go up based on the growth rate. This is why sometimes you'll get levels where most of your stats will increase.
For Lady Edelgard.
As well as levels where you only get 1 or 2 increases.
What did I expect?
This also applies to classes, but to be honest, explaining growth rates in their entirety would take up the entire video. So for now, all you need to know is the higher the growth rate, the better a unit will be in that stat. Now with that out of the way, let's get to the list. First up, we have Lysa Fear from Golden Deer. This is one you definitely want to pick up if you can. Lysa Fear is an absolute powerhouse, boasting a magic and dexterity growth rate of 60 each and a speed growth rate of 50. This makes her incredibly potent. The extra magic makes her spells hit like an absolute truck, and the dex means that she'll be critting a lot more. Her speed means she's going to be double attacking most units as well, which is a pretty useful trait for a mage to have. Of course, on the flip side, her defensive stats and her health are absolute garbage, so do be sure to keep her out of harm's way. She also has access to her unique ability known as Mastermind, which allows her to gain 2 times experience from combat. This is obviously really good because her leveling faster means she's going to get much more powerful very quickly. She also has access to a budding talent. In this case, it's in swords, and once you unlock it, you get something known as Soul Blade, which is a combat art that scales off of resistance. Now, considering her resistance growth is pretty low, I wouldn't build around this, but it is a good option to have. And lastly, she has access to 2 crests. Her minor crest of Charon occasionally increases the damage of her combat arts. To my knowledge, there are no magical combat arts, so this will mostly go unused, but more importantly, she has the major crest of Gloucester. This occasionally raises the damage of her magical attacks, which obviously synergizes quite well. As for classes, her best endgame class, in my opinion, is the Warlock. This gives her access to skills that double her black magic usage, as well as increase her black magic damage. However, if you'd like her to also have access to some off-healing, Gremory isn't a bad choice either. Next on our list is Leone from Golden Deers. She's got a pretty decent strength growth rate of 40, but where she really shines is her dex and her speed, which are 55 and 60 respectively. Leone will be double attacking people super easily and critting all the way. Her unique skill is Rivalry. When adjacent to a male ally, damage dealt to foe is increased by +2 and damage received is reduced by 2. This can make her useful for protecting male ranged units. My preferred class for Leone is the Falcon Knight, as the ability to fly around and have that much mobility is super useful in this game, as it gives her the ability to quickly move around the battlefield and take out key targets. Next up is Felix from Blue Lions, boasting a strength growth of 55, dex of 45, and speed of 55. Felix is definitely one of the more powerful sword users in this game, once again being able to reliably crit and double his opponents. His unique ability is Lone Wolf. When a battalion is not deployed or is at 0 health, damage dealt is increased by 5. This can be a really nice boost to damage, assuming his battalion has been defeated, or if you want to run him without a battalion. Given how useful gambits are in this game, I'd still consider giving him a battalion, but it's a nice boost nonetheless. His budding talent grants him +10 to avoid when using black magic. Obviously, if you don't use magic, this is completely useless to him, but it is certainly interesting. He does have a growth rate of 30 for his magic, which honestly isn't great, but it isn't the worst thing in the world. I personally would keep him using a sword and put him into Swordmaster, but you can consider putting him into Mortal Savant if you want to make use of the budding talent. He also has a major crest of Faldarius. This occasionally grants him increased damage when using a weapon, which is a really nice boost to have that complements him perfectly, I think. Next up is Petra from Black Eagles. Petra's personally my favourite sword user, boasting a growth rate of 40 and an absolutely insane speed growth of 60. Much like Lysa Fear, she should have no troubles doubling pretty much any other unit in the game, and her dex means she's going to be critting quite a lot. On top of that, she also has the personal ability Hunter's Boon. When a foe has less than 50% health, her critical rate goes up by 20. And this is where she really shines. Petra is super good at finishing off tough opponents and can often be relied on to get that crit. As for her class, I personally feel there's a good argument to be made for either Swordmaster or Assassin. Swordmaster helps to increase her strength even further, meaning that she's going to be doing a lot of damage per strike, whereas Assassin allows her to lean more into critical hits and also gives her access to a bow. And last but not least is Mercedes of Blue Lions. I would say Mercedes is the undisputed best healer. She has a magic growth of 50 and a resistance of 45, meaning her heals are going to be pretty potent, and she can also tank incoming magic damage fairly easily. Where she really shines, however, is her unique ability, Live to Serve. When healing allies, she's also healed by the same amount, meaning that she can patch herself up without having to waste a turn using vulneraries or other healing items. She also has a crest of Leone, which occasionally allows her to save on one of the uses of her recovery magic. For classes, as a full healer, she should be a bishop, as it increases her heals and the amount of time she can use them. However, if you want her to lean into damage a little bit more, Gremory is also a good choice. And just because it's fun, as a little bonus for you, I'll throw in another character. Number 6 on this list is Katherine. Now, it goes without saying, Katherine is an absolute powerhouse. She has a strength growth of 50, dex of 40, and speed of 50, which are pretty good growths, of course. But more importantly, she starts as a Swordmaster. Unfortunately, if I recall correctly, you can only recruit her if you're not in Black Eagles, meaning I don't get to use her, but assuming you're in one of the other houses, come month 7, you should be able to pick her up as long as you're level 15. Her unique ability is Fighting Spirit, which makes her take 5 less damage when her battalion is either dead or she doesn't have one assigned. Similar to Felix's ability, but more defensive. Once again, due to the potency of gambits, I wouldn't just recommend you go without a battalion all the time, but it's certainly something to consider. Katherine also has access to her hero's relic, Thunderbrand, which is an incredibly powerful sword. As for classes, honestly, just leave her in Swordmaster. It's a class that's made for her, and it works really well. She also has access to a major Charon's Crest, which increases her damage when using combat arts. That's the top 6 characters I reckon you should be recruiting. Each of them have higher than average growth rates compared to the rest of the cast, which is why they stand out. If you enjoyed this, do be sure to leave a like, and also don't forget to let me know who your favourite characters are in the comments down below. Before I forget, if you guys would like to see more content on Fire Emblem, definitely let me know what you'd like to see in the comments as well. Maybe I'll make a video on growth rates if that sounds good to you guys. Anyway, that's all for now. This is Vest, signing off.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and also click on the little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next upload. Also, don't forget you can check out 269 and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. Be sure to drop by and get involved. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.